Hello students, I am Sridhar Jalapati. Welcome to my YouTube channel Sridhar Jalapati Aptitude Classes. In this video, I will be explaining reasoning ability section questions from TCS NQT 2020 DRC test. There are altogether 30 questions from reasoning section giving 50 minutes of time. Since explaining 30 questions in one video becomes lengthy, so I am explaining 15 questions, 50% of the questions in this video. That's why I have titled this video as part 1. In part 2 video, I will be explaining the remaining 50% of the questions from reasoning sections. I have already uploaded 2 videos on numerical ability section, numerical ability part 1, numerical ability part 2, both from TCS DRC test. I hope you have gone through them. If not, please do watch them. Watching these sample test questions in the last minute will definitely help you and will give you a kind of idea to approach the exam. And then I've already uploaded a lot of other episodes as well when it comes to TCS NQT 2020 preparation as a part of the series. Do watch them, and these videos will definitely help you to crack this exam. Let's start our discussion with the reasoning section. Here is the first question. In a coded form, A plus B means some relation is given, so you don't have to read all this, directly approach with the question. Which of the following implies P is the nephew of S? So obviously these kind of questions are lengthy, time consuming, because you have to go by options. He himself in the question said which of the following, so you have to go by options. But though you have to go by options, we have a technique called eliminating some options. If any option is not satisfying, that we can eliminate. What do you mean by not satisfying? Here P has to be the nephew of S. If P has to be the nephew of S, P must be male. Now if you see in third option, when P and Q are connected by division, division is saying sister. That means in third option, P is the sister of Q. That means P is female. So here P cannot be female. If P has to be the nephew, P must be male. So without doing anything, we have eliminated third option. Remaining 3 all are possible. Now let's see which of them is possible. First one, P into Q. If 2 letters are connected by into brother, P is the brother of Q. So P is the brother of Q. So P is male. And next Q and R connected by plus. So he says son, that is Q is the son of R. Q is the son of R. So Q is male. Next R and S connected by division. So R is the sister of S. R is female and R is the sister of S. We do not know about S gender here. It is not given whether S is male or female. Right? Now, first, we just have to check whether P is the nephew of S in this or not. For S, R is the sister and sister's son, obviously nephew. So, luckily first option itself satisfied. For S, R is sister, sister's son is nephew, so answer first option. Suppose if this is not satisfying, then second, if not, then fourth. So obviously you have to go by option. For these questions, we have no shortcut. The only shortcut is, if the person is has to be male, in any option if he is female, that you can eliminate. But here there is only one option we could eliminate. So, but fortunately first option itself satisfied. Let's move to the next one. These are called non-verbal reasoning questions, figure series some people call it as. If I give a statement, you may not like it, but the fact is, these questions cannot be trained. These are purely related to an individual intelligence. These are completely depends on how you react when you see the question. It is all about observing the changes. How the figures are varying, what is the relation between the two consecutive figures, something like that. Let's see what is the relation in this question. Here a circle inside square, and this is tilted by 45 degrees in clockwise direction in the next figure. 45 degrees tilted in the next figure. These shapes, whatever these are there, these are tilted by 45 degrees in the next figure, and inside square has come out and outside circle went inside. The inside square has come out and the outside circle went inside. And these dots also, whatever the dots are there inside the square, those have come out and these outside plus symbols went inside. Whatever the relation that these two figures are carrying, same relation that the other next two figures are carrying. So this one we have to find out. So first of all, it should be tilted by 45 degrees in clockwise direction. When this diamond is tilted by 45 degrees in clockwise direction, you will get a square. So first option, second option eliminate. Now answer is going to be 1 between these two. Now let us see inside. Inside these things also should be shifted by 45 degrees, right? When these are shifted by 45 degrees, you will get them at the corner. So this is something like this. So in both those are tilted, and now outside diamond should go inside and inside square should come outside. So outside diamond should go inside. So only fourth option satisfying, because inside we have diamond. In this inside it is not diamond, it is square. So we should have diamond inside, because in this figure it is outside. In the next figure it should go inside. So therefore answer option 4. That's how you have to identify the changes. But as I said, this logic works only for this question. This logic you cannot apply for all these number series figure series questions. That's why I'm telling you, these cannot be trained. These vary from question to question. Whatever the logic I applied here may not be applicable for the next. But this is how you need to identify the changes, how they are rotated, clockwise, anti-clockwise, how they are shifted, tilted, so all that. Let's move to the next one. Another question from blood relations. In a certain code language, P plus Q means P is the brother of Q. Again, you just apply this. This is the statement given, and in that, which of the following is true? First, B and D are connected by division. So that means B is the son of D. B is the son of D. That means B is male. Next, D and G are connected by plus. If two letters are connected by plus, brother. D is the brother of G. D is the brother of G. That means D is male. And G and H are connected by into. That means G is the wife of H. If G is the wife, female, and H is male, these two are wife and husband, and these two are brother and sisters. D and G are brother and sisters. G and H are husband and wife and husband. Okay. Now, B is the grandson of H. Is it true? Is it true B is the grandson of H? No. If B has to be grandson of H, there should be a generation gap between H and B, but H and B are two consecutive generations. So the relationship cannot be grandson. So first one false. Next, H is the uncle of D. If H has to be H and D are in the same generation line. People in the same generation cannot be uncles, aunts, father. No. Next, H is the uncle of B. Let's see. Now for B, D is the father. G is sister, father's sister. Father's sister is aunt. Aunt, husband, uncle. So obviously H is the uncle of B, which is third option correct. Third option is correct, right? A simple blood relation question. Next one. Statements and assumptions. A very fresh and new topic for most of the engineering graduates, because normally if you take coaching for any competitive exam other than MBA entrance exam, people normally do not teach these statements, assumptions questions in training. But these questions appears to be simple, very sensitive. Simple but very sensitive. You have to go by those important words here. I will take this question as example. I wanted to explain the complete topic, but again, you will not have patience, and if I start explaining the topic, you will definitely fast forward the video. So let me restrict myself to this question. First of all, what is assumption? Is it your assumption? My assumption? No. Then whose assumption? You have to find the assumption of the person who has given the statement. So indirectly it is like you have to find the assumption of the author. That means, first of all, what is the definition of assumption? A part in the statement which is hidden but considered to be true. A part of the statement which is hidden but considered to be true. So in stating that, in giving the statement, what the author has assumed is the assumption. Normally, what is the mistake that people do? They bring their assumptions and they say that is assumption. No, you have to find author assumption. Now, first statement. In spite of several efforts by the environmentalists, some of the rarest species of birds are on the brink of extinction. That is the statement. So, in giving this statement, what could be the assumption of the author? You have to find. First assumption. People in general do not care for birds and engage in actions that threaten the survival of certain bird species. This appears to be true, but my dear, this is going to be your assumption. In saying this statement, author has never ever mentioned that people are not taking care, people are taking care, people are harming the birds, people are helping the birds. It is nowhere related. It is not even mentioned in the question. So first one is not assumption. Second, in general it may appear assumption, but not according to the statement. This is not author's assumption. Second one, whether or not environmentalists care, every species would be extinct in course of time. This also appears to be true in real life. Wow, what a nice statement. Every species would be extinct in course of time. But again, you are trying to come out of the question and you are talking this in general. You should never ever come out of the question. And moreover, in the statement, author strictly said some of the rarest species of birds are in extinction. Whereas this statement is saying that every species would be in extent. So this is nowhere related, and this cannot be the assumption. So therefore answer neither one nor two. Once again I am telling you, in answering assumptions questions, you cannot bring your assumptions into the picture. You cannot bring real life facts into the picture. You just have to consider the statement, and what author might have considered in giving the statement is all about assumption. Let's move to the next one. Data sufficiency question. Given below is a question followed by two statements, 1 and 2, each containing some information. Decide which of the statements is sufficient to answer the question. First one, question. How many sisters does Rahul has? How many sisters does Rahul have? First, Rahul's father is the only child of Rohit. Rahul's father is the only child of Rohit. So there is a person called Rohit, and Rahul's father is the only child of Rohit, and this Rohit has two grandchildren. So if Rohit has two grandchildren, obviously those two children must be this candidate's children, Rahul's father's children. Yes or no? Since Rohit has only one child, his grandchildren must be that child's children. But out of these two grandchildren, one is Rahul. We do not know what is the other person. Whether the other person is male or female, we do not know. If the other person is male, then Rahul do not have any sisters. We can say 0. If the other person is female, then we can say Rahul has one sister. So since we have no information to say how many sisters Rahul has, one alone is not sufficient. Second, Sonali, the mother of Sonali, the mother of Rahul, is married to Kamal. So Rahul, Sonali mother, and married to Kamal. In the sense, Kamal is now father of Rahul, and this Kamal has a son and daughter. Obviously that son is Rahul, and Kamal has one daughter. So Rahul's father's daughter is Rahul's sister. So how many sisters he has? Only one sister, and this we are able to answer from second statement. So answer 2 alone is sufficient. From 2 we can say that Rahul has one sister. A simple data sufficiency question. Let's move to the next one. Again, this is paragraph related question. A theory information followed by question. A medical representative plans to visit 6 doctors A, B, C, D, E, F, 1 doctor per day during a week from Monday to Saturday. Now it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now he said he visited C on Monday. That's a straightforward point. So he visited C on Monday. Next, he visited D on the day just before he visited B, and he said he did not visit F on either Tuesday. He did not visit F on either Tuesday or Saturday. So he did not visit F on Tuesday or Saturday. Now he visited D on the day just before he visited B. Suppose he visited, let's say, B here, then he visited D here. Next, he visited A on the day before he visited E. He visited A on the day before he visited E. Let's say this is E, this is A. And he visited D on some day after A. He visited D on some day after A. So this arrangement has violated this condition. So whatever I arranged right now is incorrect. Then let's go for the other one. Here D should be after A. D should be after A. So I'm taking A here, and he visited A on the day before he visited E here. And then he visited D on some day after A. So if I take D here, then B here, but this has again F here. Now this has violated because he should not visit F on Saturday. So therefore what I have to do? I have to shift these places to, let's say, let me take B here, D here, F here. Why B, D here? It's given that he visited D on the day just before he visited B. So this is the arrangement which is satisfying all the conditions. If you want, you can check. I would have written the answer straight away, but I have to tell you why that combination is correct, why this combination is wrong. So you should know all the possibilities, right? Okay. So this is the correct combination. You are asked to find which doctor he visited on Saturday. Obviously B. He visited B on Saturday. Right? A simple one variable problem solving question. What is the variable here? On which day he visited which doctor? Right. Next question. Something related to Venn diagrams, but fortunately diagram is given in the question itself, but it is a very clumsy. How many? 4 variables Venn diagram. Now you have to answer this question. Read the question straight away. How many married graduates are either North Indians or soldiers but not both? First of all, we want married graduates. Who are married graduates here? Married people represented by circle. Graduates are represented by triangle. Married graduates in the sense both. So 6, 12, 4, 7, 5. All these are married as well as graduates because this is intersection of circle and triangle. But in this, we want the person to be either North Indian or soldier but not both. So what are both? Soldiers are square. North Indians are rectangle. So both is 4 that I have to eliminate. Whereas 5, these are neither North Indians nor soldiers. These are not North Indians but soldiers. So I have to consider. 5 I have to consider because these are in soldiers. Right. And next 7, these are neither North Indians nor soldiers. So I have to ignore that. And 6, neither North Indians nor soldiers. I have to ignore that. 12, these are North Indians but not soldiers. I have to consider that. So total 12 plus 5, 17 is the answer. We want North Indians or soldiers but not both. So this 4 is in both, I have to ignore. 5 only soldiers but not North Indians, I have to consider. 12 only North Indians but not soldiers, I have to consider. 6 is neither North Indians nor soldiers, I have to ignore. 7 is neither North Indians nor soldiers, I have to ignore. Right? Yes. So answer 17. And here is the actual question. And answer 17. Okay. Next one. There is one more question based on the same information. One more on the same information. This time, how many unmarried North Indians are neither graduates nor soldiers? How many unmarried North Indians? First of all, unmarried people in the sense, all the people inside the circle are married. All the people who are not in the circle are unmarried. So all these 10, 7, 18, 11, 3, 13, 8, 10, 5, all these are unmarried because these are not in the circle. But we want unmarried North Indians. So who are unmarried as well as North Indians? 7, 18, 8, 10. These are unmarried North Indians. In this we want how many are neither graduates nor soldiers. So out of these 4 regions, we don't want that to be in graduates. So is anything in graduates? Graduates is triangle. So this 8 I have to exclude. That is in triangle. That should not be graduates, right? And nor soldiers. Anything in soldiers? This 18. This 18 in soldiers, right? I have to ignore. So left out 7 and 10. So again 7 plus 10, 17 is the answer for this question as well. Right? Neither graduates nor soldiers. 7 are in soldiers, I have to ignore. 18 are in soldiers, I have to ignore. These 8 are in North Indians, we have to ignore. Graduates, we have to ignore. So the left out is 10 and 7, 17. Let's move to the next one. Now this is actually decision making question. I have already made a separate video for decision making. I hope you have gone through it. This was my second episode as a part of TCS NQT preparation. Second episode. In that I have explained there are 3 questions from this decision making in sample test. All the 3 questions I've explained in that video. If you want, you can watch that video. Same question I've already explained in the decision making video, so I'm not explaining that now. Let's move to the next one. Again, another paragraph information. This I don't know why this has given a reasoning ability. This involves with numbers, so it should be a quantitative question, but yes, it's given as a reasoning ability question. Let's see. Shabnam appeared in 6 subjects A, B, C, D, E and F in the examination, scoring 65% of the total marks in all subjects. This statement is very crucial. You need to understand. He scored 65% of the total marks in all subjects put together. Right? It takes some time to understand this statement. Next, each subject has equal number of marks. That means the maximum marks for all the 6 subjects is same. How much it is, we do not know. All this information you can pause the video and you can read. What is the straightforward information here? The ratio of marks he scored in all the subjects A and D in the ratio 3:4. So I am assuming he scored 3x marks in A, 4x marks in D. Next, here her marks in subject E were 25% more than the marks in subject D. Now just now I know how many marks she scored in D, which is 4x. So E should be 25% more than this. What is 25%? 1 by 4. What is 1/4 of 4x? X. So E should be 4x plus x, 5x. 25% more than D, that is 5x. Next, here C scored 20% less than the marks scored by marks scored in E. C scored 20% in subject C. She scored 20% less than the marks scored in E. In E, 5x. What is 20% of 5x? X. So C is 5x minus x, which is again 4x. Next, she scored 40 marks more in subject F than B and 40 marks more in subject B than in A. So as A has 3x, she scored 3x plus 40 in B because she scored 40 more than that in A, and in F she scored 40 more marks than B. As B is 3x plus 40, F is 3x plus 40 plus 40, that is 3x plus 80. Right, so now we got the marks in subject A, D, E, C, B, F, all the 6 subjects. Given the average marks obtained by her in all the 6 subjects put together is 130. How do you find average? Sum of the marks in all the subjects by number of subjects, which is given as 130 is equal to sum by number of subjects 6. On cross multiplication, sum of the marks in all the subjects is 30. 136 are 780. She scored 780. So now we know how many marks she got in each subject, right? So sum of the marks in all these 6 subjects should be equal to 780. So let me add this: 3x plus 4x, 7x plus 5x, 12x plus 4x, 16x plus 6, 3x, 19 plus 3x, 22x plus 40 plus 80, 120 is equal to 780. So sorry, this is 22x. 22x is equal to 660, x is equal to 30. So x is 30. As x is 30, by the way, have you noticed this one? 65% of the total marks in all the subjects. So whatever she scored, this 780, whatever the total marks she scored in all the subjects is 65% of the total marks in all the subjects. Right? Let the total marks in all the subjects be T. This 780 is 65% of T. So if I simplify, 65 by 100 into T is equal to 780. If I simplify 13 5s, 13 6 are 5 1s, 5 2s. So cross multiplication T 1200. That means total marks in all the subjects 1200. These are 6 subjects and the maximum marks in all subjects equal and it is total 1200. Then what is the maximum marks in each subject? 200, right? 6 subjects together 1200, so each subject 200. So out of this 200, how many marks we have to find the average percentage marks secured by Shabnam in subject C and E. Average percentage of marks. First of all, in C, she scored 4x, as x is 30, 120, and in E she scored 5x, as x is 30, 150. Now pay attention. This 150 is out of 200, this 120 is out of 200. So 150 out of 200, what is the percentage? 3 by 4, right? 53 is 54, 3 by 4, nothing but 75%. That means in C she scored 75%. In E 75%. In C, 120 out of 200. This is 43 is 45, 3 by 5, nothing but 60%. Now average of these two, in C is 60%, in E is 75%, average of these two is 67.5%, which is 0.675, that is option 2. There is nothing in the question but too much of information. You just have to use this information carefully, otherwise conceptually not difficult, simple percentages, equations related, but you need to be very careful because there are too many, right? A, B, C, D, F and too much of information. If you use all this information carefully, you'll get it. So this is one reasoning section question. Let's move to the next one. Now this is from coding decoding, I can say. In each 5 pair of letters and letter clusters, the letter in the second term is rearranged, transformed from the first letters in the first in a particular way. In which 2 pairs the transformation is same? In which of the 2 pairs the transformation is same? So if I observe the changes here, now let me give the numbering to the letters. In W, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters. So B is 5th one, W is first one, H is third one, N is 4th one, Z is 4th one, N is second. This is the transformation in first. Second, in the second, W is 5th one, Q is third one, M is first one, P is second one, and T is 4th one. So are these two same? No. Next, third. T fifth one, S first one, R third one, G fourth one, and K which is second one. Again, none of these three are same, all three are different. Let's move to the last. K fifth one, H first one, P fourth one, W third one, R second one. Again, so far whatever the four I got, all four are different. Let's see the fifth. Obviously this should be similar to one of these four. So you can say answer is E, because only in E, let's see first of all. G fifth one, R third one, D first one, Q second one, and M fourth one. 5 3 1 2 4, 5 3 1 2 4, 5 3 1 2 4. That is B and E are similar. Right, simple question, but you need to identify the changes carefully. No chances for errors here. Right, let's move to the next one. Last question from this video, and remaining questions I will be explaining in the next part of the video, reasoning ability part 2. Now this is a very strange question, and I am sure most of the engineering students might not have any idea about at least this terminology: regions, edges, vertices in a connected graph. So we have a formula that is, in a connected graph, regions is equal to edges minus vertices plus 2. This is the relation. In any connected graph, number of regions is equal to edges minus vertices plus 2. Here n is number of vertices and E is number of edges, R is regions. So in this given, 3 is equal to 8 minus n plus 2. So that implies n is equal to 10 minus 3, 7. So the number of vertices is 7. That is the answer. Without knowing this formula, you cannot answer this question, because it takes a lot of time. If you go by all the drawing, all the connected graphs, and if you check all these combinations, it takes a lot of time. So this is the best method. That is, regions is equal to edges minus vertices plus 2. Right, so these are some of the questions. If you have not subscribed to my channel, do subscribe. I will be uploading a lot of videos in future as well, which will definitely help you for placement preparation. And I'm not charging anything. I'm not hiding any content in my videos. I'm not explaining 2-3 questions and rest of the video is all about promotion or package or some online course. No, whatever the questions I'm getting from the students, I'm explaining those questions, making the videos, and I'm uploading in YouTube. This will definitely help you, and if you like my explanation, do like the video, and any question, query, you can comment in the you can post your queries in the comment section and share with as many friends as you can. Thank you so much.